Hello everyone and welcome to another Looker Studio tutorial. Today we are not going to go through just a tutorial, we're going to run a full Looker Studio course. We're going to go through everything in Looker Studio from the beginning to the very end. We're going to build dashboard reports together. So stay tuned, we're going to go straight to the point. Before we do that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps tremendously to create new content, especially when it comes to full courses like this one. So let's get started. Step number one, you're going to go to lookerstudio.google.com. The tool is absolutely free and we're going to click here blank report. So once we click here on blank report, first we're going to start with Google Analytics. So we're going to connect a data source. With Looker Studio, you can connect multiple data sources, especially everything that belongs to Google, Google Analytics, Google Ads, Google Sheets, and so forth, even other channels. But we're going to start with something straightforward, Google Analytics, the most mainstream tool. So we're going to select Google Analytics, and now we need to select the account that we want to use and the property. So we're going to click account, we're going to click property, and we're simply going to click here on the add button, and that's how we can connect a data source to Looker Studio. So once we do that, then we are ready to get started. So once now the screen opens, the first thing that we are going to do is to rename our report. So we're going to go on the top left-hand side and we're going to give this report a name. So we're going to call it Test Looker Studio Report. And let's get straight to the point as usual. So how does Looker Studio work? Super simple. All you have to do is to click Insert. From here you can insert everything, charts, scorecards, rectangles, text, whatever you like. And then we're going to customize it from the right-hand side. We're going to do everything together. And we're going to start with creating a header for our report. So first things first, we're going to scroll down, we're going to select rectangle. We are going to drag and drop it. We are going to basically put it right here. And now from the right-hand side, we're going to change the background maybe to something better, maybe blue. This is going to be the header of our report. Now we're going to click on insert. We're going to insert some text. We're going to drop it here. We're going to say this is the title, Test Looker Studio Report. And as usual, we're going to grab the text, we're going to go on the right hand side and we are going to change the font color. Maybe we're going to make this a lot bigger. We're going to align it maybe in the middle. We are going to maybe place it in the middle, and this is going to be our title. Maybe we're going to make it bold also, right? So that's the starting point. Now, you want to brand also your report. You want the colors to match your client or your business. You want to also insert logos. How can you do that? Super simple. You're going to click on insert. Here we're going to find image. We're going to create a mini box here on the left hand side. And now we're simply going to select our image, go to the setup column on the right hand side, click select the file. And here I have a logo. I'm going to select it and voila, we have a logo. That's completely random logo I found online, by the way. So let's now start building our report. The first thing we're going to do is to click on insert as usual, and we're going to click scorecard. A scorecard is a simple metric. So now the same way you copy paste anything in life, Control C, Control V, or Command C, Command V for those who use Mac, we are going to create multiple scorecards, right? And we don't have to do it one by one. We can basically grab them all together, we can copy paste them, and this is going to be our top level website performance here, right? If you are struggling with the position of the scorecard, so let's say everything is misaligned like this, all you have to do is to grab all of them, then you're going to right click, and then you're going to say align vertically in the middle, and that's it. You're going to fix the look and feel. Now, in the scorecards, what are we going to do? We're going to select the first one, and then we're going to go on the right-hand side under the setup column, and here under primary field, we're going to click this blue bar basically, and we're going to change the metric. So let's select sessions as the first metric, and then we're going to select the second scorecard, and let's select total users. So this is going to be total users. And let's select the third one and let's maybe say bounce rate. So we're going to have all the metrics that matter. And now here, let's actually pull a key event from Google Analytics. So we're going to come here and we have an event that is called visits to contact page. The key events from Google Analytics, they come as key events, semicolon, and then the name of your key event. So we're going to select this key event. And now the name here is a little bit, let's say, strange. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the pen next to the metric, and we're going to rename it. So we're going to call it maybe visits to conduct. And you're not going to misspell everything like me. And now we rename the metric. Now we want the conversion rate also. So maybe we're going to click here. We are going to type the event name. There is a difference in the naming here. The absolute number of how many events you get is going to come under key events. The conversion rate is going to come under session key event rate. So we are going to select the session key event rate for this specific key event. And now we're going to click here on the pen because we need to do two things. First of all, we are going to rename it. So we're going to say percentage of visits to conduct here. And I just noticed that I misspelled basically this metric. So let's actually fix it. And here, one more thing that we're going to do, again by clicking on the pen, is we're going to change the data type from number to percent. And now we have our conversion rate. And maybe we can add another metric other than the bounce rate, total users. Let's add, for example, let's say new users. Then we're going to reorganize basically everything. So we have sessions, total users, new users, bounce rate, visits to conduct, and the conversion rate. Now, one more thing that I will recommend you to do is to grab everything, then under basically the setup column on the right hand side, you're going to toggle on this button, comparison date range. So you're going to toggle this on, then you're going to click on the drop down menu, you're going to click again, and you're going to say previous period, and you're going to hit apply. So now what we did is we added comparison indicators. So what is happening here is that the system is comparing basically sessions, users, key events, and everything with the previous period. Now, what is the previous period? The previous period by default is 28 days. But what we can do very easily is to click on insert, and we can add basically a date range control. So we can drop it here. And now from the right hand side, we're going to go to style. We are going to change the font color so everything is visible. And we can click here on this date range control. We can go to setup, and then here we can fix the date range. So we can say, for example, that by default, we want to see this year to date data. And then we're going to apply, and the numbers are going to refresh. So every time you come to your Looker Studio report, you can click here on the date range control. You can select any date that you like, and the data are going to refresh. Now, let's continue. Let's add some trend lines. So we're going to click here on insert, and we are going to add a time series chart, and we're going to drop it right here. Now with the time series chart, on the right hand side, we have a dimension, which is the date. We're going to leave it as date. And then we can add metrics. Now we have sessions. Maybe we can add also total users. The time series chart is a chart that allows you basically to compare with the previous period as well. I'm going to remove total users because it's going to be too busy, I think. And what we're going to do now is we're going to scroll down, and we're going to toggle again this button that says comparison date range. We are going to select the drop down menu. We're going to say previous period. And now here in this chart, you're going to see two lines. The dark blue is this year. The light blue is the year before. Now, if you want to customize any chart, we're going to go through customization a lot more in this course, but you can go to style, for example. Let's say you want to select the color of the line. You are going to go to series 1. You're going to change the color of the line. I'm going to keep it blue here. Or if you want, for example, let's say to maybe remove the grid line. And under the option that is called grid, you are going to disable this button, right? So, and then the grid lines will just disappear. Now let's create a different chart type, right? So we're going to click here on insert, and we're going to insert a combo chart. Now a combo chart is a chart that combines two metrics that are measured on a different scale. For example, in this chart, we're going to put visits to conduct and also the conversion rate of visits to conduct, right? So how are we going to do this? Once we insert the combo chart, we're going to select it. We are going to go to the setup column first, and we are going to update, not the dimension, we need the date because that's a trend line. We're going to update the metrics. So here we are going to say, for example, key events visits to conduct page. we are going to also click the pen here and we're going to rename this. So we're going to name it visits to conduct. And we are going to click here once again. We're going to look for our key event and we're going to select the session key event rate. And we're going to do two things here. We're going to rename it percentage, let's say, of visits to conduct. And we are going to change this to %. Now, the chart is not really looking that great. So maybe we can do two things. We can change the dimension here from date maybe to month, so year, month. So we can have basically a better visualization. And we want the visits to conduct now to be a bar, and we want the % to be a line. So we're going to go to style, and under series 1, which is visits to conduct, we are going to click here on pubs bars. So this is going to become a bar. We are going to keep the axis on the left, and under series 2, we're going to make it a line, and we're going to scroll down and we're going to make sure that this is on the right axis. So now one more thing we can do, if you want, you can also click here on data labels, show data labels. So we can actually show the conversion rate and also the number of visits to conduct. And there are a couple more things that we need to do. So we need basically to have this combo chart going from January all the way to October, right? So how are we going to do this? We're going to go to setup, we're going to scroll down, and under sort, now everything is sorted by visits to conduct. We want to click here and we want to select year, month in ascending order. So now everything is going from January all the way to October. And I'm also going to click here on style. I'm going to go down to grid one more time, and I'm going to remove the grid lines because I don't like them. So now everything is clean and clear. Now, one more thing you can do with these charts, you can add titles. It's extremely easy. All you have to do is to select, for example, first hour time series. Then we are going to go under style on the right hand side. We're going to say show title here, and we can change the title, or we can actually put it in the middle. We can make everything bold. It's up to you how you're going to format it, right? So we can do the same with this one. So again, under style, show title, we're going to align everything in the middle. And here we go, we have a combo chart here. So now we have a very good report to begin with, but we need to add a lot more. We have a lot more to go through. The first thing here is that we run out of space. So what we're going to do is to add some space. How can you do this? You're going to click on page. You're going to go to current page settings. Under style here, you're going to go under height. And let's say, for example, 5,000 pixels. We are going to press enter. And now we have a lot more room to play. So let's now add some other charts, basically. So let's add a table. So we're going to click on insert. We're going to add a table. We're going to paste it here. We're going to make it bigger. And now this table is going to be our channel report. How are we going to do that? We're going to select our table. We're going to go to setup. And here we're going to change the dimension to session default channel group. This is how the dimension is called. Now you can change the name of the dimension. To simplify, you can click on the pen. You can just call it channels, for example, and that's it. And now under metrics, I'm going to add all my metrics. So we have, let's say, sessions. Let's add total users. Let's add, for example, bounce rate. Let's add also our key event, which is visits to conduct page. And here we are also going to name it correctly. So visits to conduct. And let's add maybe the conversion rate also, right? So same setup with our scorecards, except I think we left out the new users and the bounce rate, because then we're going to create a very busy chart. So let me rename this one also, percentage of visits to conduct, and then we are going to make this a %. So now we have basically our table. So what you can do is you can double click on any breaker line here in the columns, and then the table is going to basically align itself nicely. Few more things we can do here with a table. Under the setup column, you can scroll down and you can toggle on the show summary row. So if we toggle this on, now we have the summary basically coming up under the table. Super easy, so we can see the summary. Now what we can also do here is we can toggle on the comparison date range. Again, we can click on the drop down menu and we can select previous period and apply. And now we have a delta column. So these delta columns basically will compare the performance of every channel with the previous year in this case, basically based on everything basically that we selected here. Based on the dates that we selected here, these delta columns are going to compare the performance of each channel. Now, what we're going to do also is we're going to turn this into a heat map. So we're going to select the table, click on the right hand side chart types, and we're going to select the third option here, and we're going to turn this into a nice heat map. So now we have a nice table, which is our channel performance. Now, what I like to do personally, that's a personal preference, I like to insert some pie charts, 2 pie charts. The first pie chart here, we're going to select it, we're going to go to the right hand side, and the dimension here, we're going to keep session default channel group, and the metric here is going to be sessions. And I don't really like the pie, I want to convert it into a donut chart. So how are we going to do this? We're going to select the pie chart, we're going to click here again under chart types, we're going to scroll down, we're going to select the donut chart, and that's it basically. So we change the visualization. So this pie chart, this donut chart basically is showing you the percentage of sessions by channel, and we can go to style also, we can toggle the title, and then we can change the title, so we can say percentage of sessions by channel, and then we can align this nicely in the middle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this chart, I'm going to duplicate it here, I'm going to place it nice and neatly next to the other one, I'm going to make everything bigger, and now on the second chart that we have here, we're going to click it, and we are going to select a different metric. So we are going to select our key event, key events visits to contact page. And now we need to also go to style, we need to change the title. So this is the percentage of visits to contact by channel. Why I create these 2 charts? Because you can see where the traffic is coming from and where the key actions are coming from. We can see here that 34% of the traffic is coming from paid social, and 26% of the visits to contact page are coming from paid social. And we can see, for example, that we are getting maybe 20% or let's say 15% of organic search traffic here in terms of sessions, visits to the site, but the organic traffic is of higher quality because it generates more visits to the contact page. So I like to have these 2 pie charts because they give you quite good perspective here. So what else can we do? A lot more things. So let's actually continue. We're going to click on insert. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a geo chart, right? So some of you may like this, some of you may hate it, but we're going to add a geo chart here. And we're going to do 2 things, right? So we're going to go to the setup column and we're going to change the dimension to city. Now you can do this with countries, but I'm going to select city. I'm going to select basically the metric here as sessions. And now I'm going to scroll down under the zoom area, and we are going to select basically here, we're going to search for Greece, which is the country that this business is based. And now here we have a geo chart of where the visits to the site are coming from, right? So, and we can go to style also, we can add a title, and we can basically modify here the title if we want. So this is one cool thing maybe that you can add. You can zoom in a country, in a continent. You can also look into countries, cities. That's one more opportunity you have to play with in Looker Studio. So let's continue now. And now we're going to create a table that is going to show us the performance of the different pages on the site. So we're going to click insert. We are going to add a table. I mean, we can copy and paste the previous table, but let's actually do everything together so you can see how everything is done. And now here I'm going to select the table, I'm going to go to the setup column on the right hand side, and I'm going to change the dimension to full page URL. So this is going to be the dimension that I'm going to use, which means the different pages on the site. Now here I'm going to add my metrics. So let's add some different metrics. So let's say we have sessions, we have views, which is page views. Maybe we're going to add here also bounce rate, because it's good to have when it comes to the different pages. You can add also any other metric that you like, but let's keep it simple in this case. And here now we have a lot of pages, right? So what we can do here under the setup column is we can scroll down, and under the number of rows, we can actually limit it to just 20 pages. right? So we can actually say that these are the top 20 pages that we have on the site. Now on the site here, we have a lot of different pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this table like this, or maybe let's actually leave it like this. And instead of having all the pages here, we want to apply a filter, right? So we want to see maybe only the blogs, only the top 20 blogs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the setup column, we're going to scroll a little bit further down, and we're going to find filter. We're going to click add filter. We're going to create a filter. We're going to name this filter blog pages. And here we're going to add basically our filter condition. So we are going to say that we want only full page URL that contains /blog, which is how this website is structured. And we are going to save basically here our filter. So once we save our filter, now we can see that we have a table only with the blogs. And I can sort everything here maybe by sessions or by views. One more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a heat map as well, because it's going to make it easier to understand the performance, let's say, of the different blogs. And we are also going to go to style. We're going to add a title here, and we're going to call this top 20 blogs. And we're going to align everything nice and neatly in the middle. Now, let's also do one more thing. Let's go under the setup column here. Let's scroll down and let's also maybe add the summary row. Maybe we can also toggle the comparison so we can have, let's say, the delta column so we can see the performance versus, let's say, the previous period versus last year in this case. And voila, we have a really nice, basically, table here, which is going to show us the performance of our top 20 blogs. Now let's do this with collections also, right? So now I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to Control-C, Control-V. I'm going to duplicate this table. I'm going to basically place it nice and neatly here under my previous table. And what we're going to do now is change the filter. So we're going to remove this filter and we're going to add another filter, and we're going to call this collection pages. Right, so, and we're going to add another condition. We're going to say here that the full page URL contains, for example, /collection, right? And we're going to save this filter. And now we have another table basically here that is giving me the performance of my top 20 collections. Of course, we need to change the title. So we're going to go to style and we're going to correct the title here. So we have top 20 collection pages because that's a Shopify website. And now we have a pretty decent report, right? So we have our top level performance, we have our trend line sessions over time, we have our key event here, which is visits to contact page with a conversion rate by month. We have a table with the channels. We have two pie charts that are going to tell us where the traffic is coming from and the contribution of every channel to the bottom line. We have a heat map where we can see geographically where the traffic is coming from. We have two tables that are going to reveal the top 20 blogs and also the top 20 collection pages. What else we can do? Let's say that you are interested in device traffic by device. So let's actually create a different visualization. We're going to click on insert. In this case, we're going to add a vertical bar chart first. We're going to place it here. We are going to go to the setup column on the right hand side, and here we're going to change the dimension to device category, and we're going to change the metric maybe to sessions. So this is going to be sessions, and this little bar chart now, we're going to go to style, we're going to show the data labels, and maybe as usual I'm going to go to grid. I'm going to get rid of the grid lines, and it shows you basically where the sessions are coming from, so mobile, desktop, and tablet. Now, what we can do here is maybe we can duplicate this one more time, and we can simply change the metric under the setup column from sessions to our key event. So we are going to select here our key event. We're going to rename it. We have to do this all the time, unfortunately. Visits to contact. So this is where basically the visits to the contact page are coming from. But maybe I'm not going to have just a bar chart. I'm going to duplicate this combo chart right here one time. and then I'm going to bring this down slowly. One of the things that is happening in Looker Studio is that it makes your life very hard when it comes to moving things around. So I'm just going to grab this, and now I'm simply going to modify this. So the dimension here is not going to be year month, it's going to be device category, and the rest of the setup is ready. So we have basically now the visits to contact, and also we have the conversion rate on this specific key event. So this is the performance now by device. So now let's add the titles also. So title here, let's align basically everything in the middle. And here we need to change the title. Actually, the title is already modified. So now we have also our device performance. Let's do one more thing. So I'm going to copy the first table, this one here, and we are going to create now a table, two tables. One is going to show you the performance by gender, and the other one is going to show you the performance by age group, right? So I think that will be also very useful for a lot of you to have in your report. So all I have to do now here is, in the table I copied, I need to basically change the dimension first maybe to age group, age. And now here we have basically the performance by age group. And let's make this a little bit smaller. And then we're going to copy and paste this. And we are going to place this other table right here. And we're simply going to change age to gender. And that's it. So now I believe we have a full report, right? So I don't know if we need anything else, but in my eyes, it looks as if we have pretty much everything. So top level performance, trend line, key event and conversion rate, channel performance, pie charts to understand the channel performance, a geo chart, then tables for blogs, for our collection pages, then the visits by device category, also the key events by device category, then age performance, then gender performance. So we are golden now. And now let me take a step back. We're going to create more reports because that's a full course. We're also going to create a Google Ads report. But before we go there, a couple of things that are super useful. So let's say you created this report, you want to share it with your stakeholders. All you need to do is to click here on the share button, and you have a couple of options. Either you can actually make this public, and if you make this public, you can share the link, and then anyone with a link can access your report. Or you can add an email here, and you can give them access, either editing or viewing access. And if you want to protect your report, you can click here on the gear icon, and you can say prevent, for example, editors from adding more people, or disable, let's say, downloading and printing. And speaking about printing, what you can do also is you can click here on the share icon, you can download the report as a PDF, and then you can take this PDF and you can print it. So that's a couple of things that you can also do with this Looker Studio report. Now, I almost forgot. There is one very important thing that we need to do. So I'm going to grab everything, and I'm going to move everything slightly down, maybe 2 notches. And here on the top, I'm going to click on the insert bar, and I'm going to add a drop-down list. This is a filter. Now you can do the same by clicking here on add a control, and you can also add a drop-down list. And now this filter, we're going to change it to channel, session default channel group. So we are going to select session default channel group. We're going to click the pen, and we're going to change the name. We're going to say select channel. So now what is happening here is you can click this filter and you can select only one channel. So let's say only paid social, and then your entire report is going to basically be filtered to show you only traffic from paid social. You can select more than one channels, or you can select all the channels. That's up to you. Now we can actually duplicate this filter one more time. And what we're going to do here is we're going to change the control field from the right hand side, maybe to device category. So, and then here we're going to change the name, and we're going to say select device. And let's duplicate this one more time, and we are going to maybe have here another filter which is going to be the town and city. And maybe I'm going to duplicate this one more time. And my second filter basically here, I'm going to change it to something that a lot of you probably need, which is the source and the medium, right? So source / medium. So we're going to click here and we're going to change this to source / medium, session source / medium. This is how the dimension is called. So now basically here you can select a specific source, Facebook /paid, Google /CPC, and so forth. And by the way, if you want to have the source and the medium instead of the channels, you can simply change the dimension in any of your tables, right? So now we have a complete report. Okay, so we are done with Google Analytics. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you want to work with me, you can find links in the video description as well. And let's now do something else. Let's create a new page. So we're going to come here and we're going to add a new page. And now you can see here on the right-hand side that we have 2 pages, and you can also navigate between the pages from the left-hand side. And first of all, we're going to rename the pages to understand what they are about. The first page is, let's say, our Google Analytics report. So Google Analytics report. The second page, which is this blank one, is going to be our Google Ads report. So now we're going to create a report with Google Ads. I don't want to reinvent the wheel completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first page here, and the header, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say basically here, make report level. So make report level means that this header now is going to be on all the pages of my report. So now if I go to the second page, I can see here that I have the header with the logo and the date range ready. So now what we want is we want to build a Google Ads report. What you can do now is 2 things. Either you're going to go here to page, you're going to go to current page settings, you're going to go under the setup column and you're going to select here data source. You're going to say add data. And this time we're going to select Google Ads. And now we are going to select our Google Ads account. And once we select our Google Ads account, we're going to click add. Right, so that's the easiest way to make sure that now whatever visualization we're going to include is going to be on the Google Ads data source. It's going to come from Google Ads. Or you can, let's say, start inserting items. So let's say combo chart scorecards, and then you will have to click here on the data source and follow the same process. But it's easier, in my opinion, if you go to page, current page settings, you import the data source, then you select the data source, and now we can start building a Google Ads report. And we're going to follow the same pattern. Nothing is really changing massively here, right? So we're going to click insert. We are going to say scorecard. And let me add actually a couple of scorecards here. So we're going to add all the Google Ads key metrics. So let's add maybe another 2. And I'm going to align them nice and neatly. So right click, align vertically middle. The first one, maybe we can come here and we can select impressions. Normally we start with impressions. The second one can remain clicks. The third one, maybe we can select average CPC. The fourth one, maybe we can select click-through rate. The fifth one, maybe we can select conversions. The sixth one, maybe we can select the conversion rate. This is called conv rate. So this one here, conv rate. And now I just realized I need another scorecard because we can't have a Google Ads report unless we have the cost also. So we're going to add the cost also here. Right, so now we have the cost, and you can see that the date range works perfectly also in this report. Similarly here, we're going to grab everything. Maybe we're going to place them a little bit neater, and we're going to toggle the comparison date range, select the previous period, and we are going to hit apply here so we can have the comparison indicators with the previous period. So now we're going to go through the same logic that we applied with Google Analytics. Let's first create maybe a chart. Here we're going to start maybe with a combo chart, and this combo chart is going to have the clicks and maybe the CPC. So I'm going to select my combo chart. I'm going to go to my dimension. I'm going to select month. And then I'm going to say that the first metric is going to be clicks. And the second metric is going to be CPC. And now I need to fix my combo chart, right? So how are we going to fix the combo chart? We discussed this before. We're going to go to style. Series 1, which is clicks, is going to be a column on the left axis. Series 2, which is the CPC, is going to be the line on the right axis. And we're going to go to the setup column. Under sort, we're going to sort everything by month in ascending order. And voila, we have our trend line. And as usual, because I'm a bit OCD, we're going to go to style and we're going to get rid of the ugliest grid lines ever created. And now we have a clean combo chart. Now let's do the same thing, maybe with conversions and cost per conversion. I just realized maybe we need to add cost per conversion metric in the scorecards. We're going to do this, but let's actually duplicate this. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. So all we have to do is to basically select the right metrics. So the first metric is going to be conversions. The second metric is going to be cost divided by conv. This is the metric. And that's it. So couple of things that I'm going to do. I'm going to make everything bigger. We are going to add the titles very quickly. So we're going to click on style, add the title. I'm going to align everything in the middle. Same thing here, style, add the title, align everything in the middle. And maybe we can also show the data labels at least for our bars. So in this one and also this one. So for the clicks. And now we have some decent trend lines here in terms of clicks and CPC by month, conversions and cost per conversion maybe by month. And let's actually make them smaller. Sorry for going back and forth, but I think it's a good idea to maybe, I'm not going to duplicate this. I'm going to insert another chart. This is going to be a vertical bar chart. And this vertical bar chart is going to give me the trend line when it comes to the cost, right? So we can have basically everything nice and neat. So I'm just going to position everything nicely here. And then we're going to go to setup. We are going to keep the month. We're going to select the metric as cost. So how much are we spending every month? We are going to scroll down, make sure that this is sorted by month in ascending order. And then we're going to go to style. We're going to add the title, align it in the middle. And we are going to show the data labels. And this is the cost by month. So now I believe we have the trend lines that matter. So clicks and average CPC, conversions and cost per conversion, and the cost by month. What else can we do? Let's add some filters first. Right away, the same thing we did for Google Analytics. So I'm going to push everything a little bit down. I'm going to click insert and I'm going to go to drop down list. So I'm going to drop a filter here. And now the first filter is going to be campaign name, right? So here we're going to select campaign name. So base campaign name, we're going to click here and we're going to call this select campaign. And now this filter is going to allow you to click here and select any campaign that you are running. And everything is going to adjust only to this campaign. So you can see the performance and the trend line only for one campaign. So this is filter number one. Filter number two, let's actually duplicate this. And maybe what I want to have here is the network, right? So network with search partners. So we're going to say here, select network. And if you are familiar with Google Ads, you will know that we can run cross network, performance max, search network, pure search campaigns, and we also have search partners. Maybe another filter here. Let's actually add another filter and let's select maybe the town or city, right? So maybe we want to see the performance by town of city. Maybe we want to see the performance by town or city. So here we can actually have this filter and let's actually make it super complete. Let's also add a filter by device. So we're going to duplicate this. We are going to select here device and let me also change the naming so everything is nice and neat. So we can say select device, and also here select town and city. Okay, so now we have our filters, we have our trend lines, we have the top level performance, we ran out of space again. So again, page, current page settings, style, let's make it 5,000. What else can we do? Same approach with our Google Analytics report. So we're going to click here on insert. We are going to select here table. We're going to drop our table here. We're going to make our table big. And now under the setup column, I'm going to change month to campaign name. So we are going to select base campaign name. I don't know why the dimensions have different namings, so we're just going to call it campaign. And here we're going to add the metrics. So let's say impressions, let's say clicks, and I'm going to skip now CPC and click-through rate. I'm going to go straight to conversions. Then we're going to have conversion rate, and then we're going to have the cost per conversion, and then we are going to have here the cost. That's what we're going to have, not the average cost, the cost. Now we're going to click here basically one time, so everything is going to be organized nice and neatly. Under the setup column, I'm going to toggle on the show summary row. If you want, you can also add the comparison date range. I think this will create a very busy situation here. We're going to make our table maybe a little bit bigger. And actually there are a lot of campaigns with zero data, so we don't really need to make it bigger, maybe up to here. Or maybe we can click here and we can say limit it to just 10 campaigns to begin with. And then I'm going to open chart types and I'm going to select heat map. So I'm going to convert everything into a heat map. If you want to change the colors of the heat map, what you can do is you can go to style, you can scroll down, and here let's say metric 1, metric 2, you can change the colors of the heat map. So let's do that. So metric 1, let's leave it as blue, and let's make everything, let's say, blue. So it's not going to be like a circus, it's going to be maybe one color, right? So we're going to change the colors of the heat map to blue. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We are going to maybe duplicate this table and we're going to create one table that is going to give us the keyword performance. So all we have to do here is to change campaign to search keyword. Now, there are basically two things here, right? So in Google Ads, the search term is what people typed on Google and your ad showed up. And the search keyword is the keywords that you used in your campaign. These are two different things. Now we're going into Google Ads remit, but these are two different things because your keywords may trigger multiple search terms, right? So now we have basically here our keyword performance, and I always forget the titles. So let's add the titles here and here also, and we are good. Now let's actually do something cool. So let's copy this combo chart, and now we're going to create a combo chart which is going to show us the performance by day of the week and also the performance by hour of the day. So I'm going to place this here. I'm going to go to the setup column, not the chart types, and I'm going to change the dimension to day of week. And then maybe I can change also the metrics here. So we don't want clicks, we want conversions, and we want maybe the cost per conversion. So now we basically have everything by day of week. And I'm going to duplicate this one more time. We are going to paste this nice and neatly next to it. One thing I don't like about Looker Studio is how you cannot move easily basically everything, meaning the charts. It makes your life a little bit hard, but it's super cool tool anyway. So you're going to click here and simply you're going to change this to hour of day. So now we have basically here hour of day. And everything now is really cool. So we have our top level performance, we have the trend line, clicks and CPC, conversions and cost per conversion, cost by month. We have our campaign, performance that has a completely wrong title. So we're going to call this campaign performance. We have our keyword performance, which also has a wrong title. So we're going to call it keyword performance. And we have a performance by day of week, the performance by hour of the day. And if you want, you can actually duplicate this and actually look at more dimensions. So let's duplicate both of these charts and let's actually pull them a little bit further down. And this is what I'm talking about. So Google Looker Studio actually makes your life so hard when it comes to moving reports around by lagging or by actually not responding. And now we are simply going to change the dimension on this one, maybe to device. That's a cool dimension maybe to get some insights on. And now we're going to click on this one and maybe we can change this to town and city. So now we can actually see the town and city. And here now, one thing we can do, because this is a little bit odd how it looks like, is we can scroll down, we can sort everything not by the name of the town and city, but by conversions in either ascending or descending order, whatever, let's say, you like. And now we have the performance, let's say, by device. Let's do the same thing also here. So we're going to sort everything by conversions in descending order, and we have also the town and city performance. Now, one very important thing, a lot of you sometimes want to report on conversions, but you want to report on a specific conversion. So let's actually go to Google Ads. We're going to open our Google Ads account and we're going to see that we have many conversions, right? So this is the total number of conversions that we have in Google Ads. So here in Google Ads, we're going to go to goals, we're going to go to conversions, and we're going to go to summary. And now we're going to scroll down and we're going to see the names of all the conversions that we have in Google Ads. So we are going to scroll down and we are going to open the different categories basically that we have here. And we can see that we have one conversion that is called, let's say, add to cart. We have another conversion here that is called click to call. We have another conversion, which is the one that we are using, which is the visits to contact page. Under engagement, maybe we have another one, which is called scroll. And here we have some other conversions like clicks to certain buttons and so forth. And let's say now, for example, that I want to report only on a specific conversion, right? So let's actually limit everything to this conversion, visits to contact page, just to be consistent with our Google Analytics report. So currently, this number of conversions is showing everything, all the conversions that we have under the account. The way to fix this is very simple. We're going to click here on conversions. We're going to select here, add a filter from the right-hand side, and we're going to say create a filter. So we're going to call this the ads visits to contact. So we can know what it is. And we are going to say here, we are going to include the dimension that is called segment conversion type name. And we are going to say that it contains the name of our conversion. So visits to contact page. I don't have to put the entire name because this is contains, but I'm just going to put visits to call. And then we're going to save. So now you will see that the number of conversions immediately changes to a more realistic number that only includes these visits to contact basically. And now I can simply, let's say, select my conversion rate. I can click here, add a filter. I can apply the same filter. I can click here on conversions and cost by month. I can click add a filter. I can apply the same filter. I can click here in my campaign performance, click add a filter, apply the same filter. And same thing here with my keyword performance, same thing here with all my other charts. So now we basically have a Google Ads report that only reports on one conversion, the one that matters, let's say, for this business. Right? So once you create the filter, you can actually apply it to any chart. Okay, so I think we are cool. I think we have a complete Google Ads report here in Looker Studio. So we have our filters, we have the top level performance, we have our date range controller from the top, We have our trend lines in all the key metrics. We have campaign performance, keyword performance, day of the week, hour of the day, device, town and city. We have almost everything we need. Of course, you can keep adding more and more things in your report, but I believe that we are good to go. Last thing now, the last page we're going to create. We're going to do something different. We are going to connect Google Sheets data in Looker Studio. This is going to be the last report that we're going to create. So I'm going to click here on page, and I'm going to say, for example, here, I want to add a page from the right hand side. And here you can see we made this report level. So we have the header ready. And now what we need to do is to click here on page, go to current page settings, go under the setup column, and we need to connect our Google Sheets data source. I have a sample data source which is relevant to a meta ads report. So basically I downloaded the meta ads report and I stored all the data here in Google Sheets. It's not from the same account, but we are going to use it as an example. So what we are going to do now is we are going to come here again, page, current page settings. We are going to go under setup. We're going to click here. We're going to say add data. We're going to select Google Sheets. Here we're going to find the Google Sheet we want to connect. We are going to select the tab and we're going to click add, as simple as it sounds. And now we added basically this data source for this specific page. So we need to click here one more time and select it. So now everything we do here in this page is going to feed from our Google Sheets. And in our Google Sheets, we have results, reads, clicks, link clicks, post saves, post shares, and everything basically here. So same drill, everything is the same. So scorecards, we're going to basically take the scorecards. We are going to create a nice and neat line, and we are going basically to change now the metric, and everything is going to come from our Google Sheets. So we are going to click here. We are going to change the record count here to maybe, let's start with clicks, link clicks. What do we have also here? So we have reads. So maybe we're going to start with reads instead of link clicks to begin with. Then we are going to click the second one. Then here we're going to add the link clicks. Then we're going to click the third one. Here we're going to add, what do we have here? So maybe let's say post saves. Here, let's say in the last one, maybe we're going to add the amount spent. Okay, and then here maybe we can add the click-through rate. I mean, the position is a little bit off. So maybe we are going to structure everything a little bit better. And the click-through rate here, basically, you will see that is off. So what we need to do is to click on the pen, and we need to turn this into a percentage. Now, something very important that is happening here. This click-through rate is wrong. Why this is wrong? Because when you basically import these types of data from Google Sheets, for whatever reason, the system cannot really calculate ratios and cost per click, for example, and all these metrics correctly. So what we need to do here is we need to create our own metric, right? So what we're going to do basically here is we're going to go on the right hand side under this column basically here, which is under my head, which is called data. And we're going to say add a field, and we're going to add a calculated field. We are going to name this click-through rate, and here we're going to add the formula. And the formula here is going to be sum of link clicks divided by the sum. In this case, we're going to use reads. Normally we use impressions, but I don't think we have impressions here in this report. Why sum of link clicks and sum of reads? Because in our Google Sheets here, we have also a date range, and we have multiple rows, and we want basically the click-through rate to be 100% correct. So we're going to save. So once this is done, we're going to come here to our report. We're going to select the new metric that we just created, this click-through rate. And now you will see that, let's make it also a percent. And now you see that the click-through rate is correct. Okay, now what are we going to do? We are going to add a trend line as usual, right? So we can add a bar chart here. And now the date range here in Google Sheets is under date. So you need to make sure before you actually connect the data to your Looker Studio that this is indeed a date. If you find any issues basically with, let's say, the system recognizing that this is a date, you can go always here under the setup column to your data source. You can click the pen and then you can scroll down, you can find date, and you need to make sure that this is configured as a date, right? So you need to make sure that this is a date in order for the system basically to recognize it and also to obey to your date and range control here. And we're going to change the dimension here to date. Now we don't have complete data here, so we're going to sort everything by date in ascending order. By not complete data, meaning that we don't have data for the entire, let's say, years. It starts from August, let's say, to October. And here you can add any metrics that you like. So for example, we can add the reads, we can add maybe the clicks, the link clicks. And as usual, you can go to style, basically you can customize them. So you can change the colors, you can add maybe if you want the title here, you can add the data labels, same basically thing that we did in all the setups, the dashboard setups that we went through so far. You can get rid of the grid lines, which is the most important thing. And now you can actually create other charts. So for example, let's create maybe a combo chart. So now this is an example report, but you get the point, right? So now here in this combo chart, we're going to have maybe the click-through rate that we created together with the link clicks. And let's actually customize it nicely. So series number 1, which is our link clicks, is going to be a bar. The series 2, which is our click-through rate, is going to be a line. We are going to show the data labels for maybe both. And we are also going to remove the grid lines. So from the right-hand side, we're going to come here, we're going to remove the grid lines, and that's how you can actually play. So now, same drill exactly. You can add filters, you can add tables. So if we add a table, a cool thing here is that, let me actually make some space. So page, current page settings. We are going to say, for example, here 5,000. Now here in this table, we're going to make it bigger. And the cool thing here in this table is that if we select, for example, the campaign name, and then we add the metrics, so for example, reads, link clicks, the click-through rate, for example, that we created, amount spent, and so forth, then what is going to happen is that Looker Studio is going to pull the data from your Google Sheets and is going to aggregate it, and you can use everything that we learned so far. For example, we can show the summary. You can even have a comparison date range if, let's say, your report is full. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the process of creating the report is exactly the same. All you have to do really is to connect your Google Sheets and just select the metrics and the dimensions that you want to use. The metrics and the dimensions are your column names. One last thing. So let's say that you want to add more data to your Google Sheets. So you're going to come here, you're going to add more data. Once you add more data to this Google Sheet, you're going to come here to your Looker Studio, and here on the top right hand side, you're going to click here more options, you're going to click refresh data, and then the system will pull in the latest data from your report and it will update all your charts. That's it for this video. So what we did together is to create a Google Analytics report, a Google Ads report, and then we used Google Sheets to pull in Meta Ads data. And now we have a Looker Studio with 3 pages, one on Google Analytics, one on Google Ads, one on Meta Ads. You can follow exactly the same steps and create your own report. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below. If you want to work with me, you can find links in the video description. If you want the template, I don't know if it's the prettiest template, but again, you can email me and we can see what we can do. And that's all for today. Thank you a ton for watching. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day in any time zone. Bye, everyone.